It's your boy Chris Collins from Chris C Speaks, part of the Cool Speak family. And I want to give you some game today so you can help make your leadership a verb. So check this out. Y'all know how it is. It's the springtime, right? So it's time to go to a conference. It's time to go, do these workshops and do all these trainings. And you typically leave from these places feeling motivated and inspired. You ready to go. But then when you get back to the yard, it's like, what did I learn about again? How do I do this? Well, that was a great idea, but what did they say? You get all these great things from the keynote and the workshops, but then it's sometimes very difficult for that to translate into actual practical application. So I want to give you a little game today. I want to give you 3 tips that will allow you to take the inspiration that you feel at a conference or a training and turn that into application to make an impact on your campus. All right? So rock with your boy. All right, y'all. So I'm here to give you 3 tips to take your inspiration and turn it into application so that you can make an impact on your campus. Tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to make your notes real. We've all been there, right? Somebody says something, you're like, ooh, that was good, right? Somebody giving you a fire keynote and they make a dope point, and you're like, well, I got to write that down. Because we all hear the stuff about if you write it down, you're more likely to remember it. Yeah, well, that's cool. But if the notes that you take at a conference end up being filed away with the same place where you put like your 7th grade essays and all that good stuff, then it really doesn't help. If you only write the notes down in the moment and you never go back to review them, you are not maximizing the potential of that information. So here's what you do. You want to take those notes that you got from your conference or your workshop, and you want to rewrite them. You want to break them down into things that are ideas, right? Things that are mindsets, and then things that are actionable items. Ideas are like, okay, I heard something, I saw something. That's an idea that we want to try to implement here on campus. Maybe you heard about an activity. Maybe you heard about a project and you say, hey, we want to try to do this or bring this to where I am. That's an idea. Then you have the mindset. These are things that are internal for either you or your organization. So now you can start to think differently, because as you think differently, then you act differently, right? Maybe you have to rethink how you view leadership, how you may have to rethink how you view titles. You may have to elevate how you view delegation. Those are mindset things that you may have received from that information at a conference. And then thirdly, you want to talk about actionable items, because a good speaker, a good workshop is going to leave you with some practical things that you jotted down, right? Like, I'm going to do this when I delegate. I'm going to do this when I'm building teams. This is a great way to collaborate with other organizations, like some practical things you can do. And you want to be able to break it down into those 3 sections. The key is, how do you take a great point and translate that into something that is practical that you can use right now in the moment? All right, tip number 2. Tip number 2 is share the love. So we go to a conference and you get this information, and then you come back and now you have this information. Maybe you were one of the only people in your organization to go. Maybe you were one of a few, but now now the information operates in a silo amongst you all. Well, how do you get information to the rest of the group and then also make sure that you truly understand what you're doing? You share the love. It's called a teach back. It is a great practice that as soon as possible, when you come back from a conference, you've had a chance to review your notes like we talked about in step 1. Now you take it a step further and you share that love with a teach back. This is your opportunity to be able to intentionally transfer information from you to your organization and spread that, so that now that information gets to go exponentially further by you putting it in words that are relevant for the folks that you see every day. Because the keynote is cool, but when you can teach that keynote, now you are showing that you truly have an understanding or even a mastery of that content. With that mastery and the ability to teach others, now you become a resource and not a last resort. When you teach others how to do certain things, or when you teach them how to think differently, or you give them ideas that you gained from the conference, now as a leader, you don't have to bear the burden of creativity or of direction all by yourself. Now you can move from an authoritative leadership to a more collaborative leadership, because you all share information and you're on the same page. Last thing about this teach back and sharing the love. When you get to share the experience that you had at the conference, the networking opportunities, the wonderful like social things you got to do, you get to show the pictures and show the totality of what you've done. You now create and pique the interest of everyone else in your organization to want to do the same. Now, not only are you sharing information, but you are creating a culture where education and self-development and professional and personal development is a part of the culture. It's a part of what you do. It's a part of who you all are as an organization. Step 3 is connect and apply. You want to connect the information that you have with something that you already have going on or planned in your organization. If we really want to make leadership a verb, which means it's about action, then we want to connect the information that we have to the actions that we are already doing. So if you're already doing community service, how can I take the information that I learned at the conference and make the community service that we do more relevant and more impactful to my campus, my community, and my future? If I'm already having social functions, how can I now make that social function a party with a purpose? So you want to connect the information that you learn and you want to apply it to things you're already doing. Take some time and reflect on how the information that you just learned can be used to elevate or make what you already do more efficient, more effective, and more powerful. Intelligence is not about a number. It's not about your IQ. It's about the elasticity of your brain. How can you stretch the way that you think and wrap it around what you do so that now you can take what you do and elevate it? See, we often go to a conference and we get fired up. We have this powerful experience, sometimes an emotional experience, and we leave charged up. We leave on fire. That means that the conference has done its job. That means that the keynote speaker or the workshop presenter has done what they came to do. They leave you fired up. Being fired up is amazing. It's great, but that's motivation. And motivation fades when life happens. Discipline is what you pick up and what you do to make motivation real on a consistent basis. In order to make leadership a verb, we have to move just from motivation to inspiration, and we have to move to application. Thanks for kicking it with your boy. I'm your neighborhood hope dealer, Chris C. Speaks. Love you like a fat kid love cake. We'll see you on the other side.